Welcome into Nighthawks at noon here from Dahlonega Roadhouse. I'm Chad Haynie, joined alongside by Lee Glenn. Ready for our second episode. And Lee, who all we got coming up today?
A lot going on in Nighthawk Athletics. We're going to have head softball coach Mike Davenport join us, tell us about UAH Charger Chill Out. Baseball assistant coach Nick Palmer is going to give us a recap of this weekend's home series victory over Pfeiffer. Our basketball coaches Buffie Burson and Faulkner are going to step to the stage and recap where they're at with the season. And we're going to be joined by tennis head coach Kent Norsworthy as well, giving us a recap of his season opening week.
It's been a great 2 weeks in Nighthawk Athletics. Can't wait to recap it with you and preview the next two. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Nighthawk head coach Mike Davenport of the North Georgia softball team here on Nighthawks at noon.
Shop, play, and stay in Dahlonega, the heart of the North Georgia mountains.
Cheer for the stumbles, the he shoulda had that's, and the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
Welcome back to Nighthawks at noon here at Dahlonega Roadhouse, joined now by the head coach of the North Georgia softball team, which had quite the successful weekend over in Huntsville, Alabama, Coach Mike Davenport. And Coach, first off, congratulations. The third game of the year, win number 600 for you in your career here at North Georgia. No, that's quite a feat.
Well, I appreciate it. That's just a tribute to the players that we've had in the past in this program.
Started off on Friday, 2 shutouts back-to-back in your first 2 games of the year, 8-0 run rule win in 6 innings over Union, and then a 2-0 win over a tough West Georgia team. Just talk about starting your year off in such a strong manner.
Well, a lot of times early in the season like this, I think the pitchers do have an advantage, because our hitters don't see a whole lot of live pitching until you get into about 30, 40 games into the season a little bit, and they start to get acclimated a little bit to live pitching. So our pitchers came out through strikes, really challenged the strike zone, and I was very proud of them for doing that, especially this early in the season. Our defense played extremely well behind all 3 of our pitchers this weekend, too.
Pick things right where you left off on Friday, Saturday morning, a 10-0 win over Miles College. You started out the year actually even going in a few innings into that Indianapolis game. 20 straight shutout innings from your pitching staff.
Yeah, again, they did a great job. Sarah Phillips, our assistant coach, called a great game. Both of our catchers also called some pitches for us throughout the course of the weekend. Did a tremendous job, Jessica Finch and Amanda Hawkins as well. So, we've got the ability to let the kids kind of take over the game if they need to, and they did a great job of that.
Got a little more battle-tested in those next few games. A comeback win over number 21 Indianapolis. And then another comeback win the next day over Delta State.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons we go to the Charger Chill Out, and that it tests us very early and very often, and that I think that's one of the reasons we do go to this tournament every year. Sometimes, in the off season, I look at the schedule thinking maybe we've overdone it again, but our kids responded very well this weekend. Indy's got a great program. They're a perennial top 15, 10 team in the country. Delta State finishes in the upper half of the Gulf South Conference, and then, of course, we finish the tournament off with UAH every year.
First off, never easy when you play 6 games in a weekend in 3 games, but you finished off with Alabama Huntsville, UAH, and put out your freshman there to get her a little battle tested in a big game.
Yeah, and it's kind of the way the pitching rotation worked. Sunday morning going into the Delta State game, we started Megan Stover, and we just got to a point in the game where we finally got the lead on them. They were swinging the bats very well against us, and so we put Courtney Poole in to try and finish the game up, and she did. And I didn't want to overdo her this early in the season, and it was time to see if Allie could get it done for us, and she threw a real good game. Problem is Huntsville's pitcher threw a little bit better game against us, so they come out 2-0 on top.
They won that one, but no one came out unscathed in that tournament. Your 5-1 record.
Right.
one of the best there.
Yeah, like I said, there were so many good teams there, and it was just good parity. And Coach Les Studeman at UAH does a great job of pairing the teams well, and so they come out of that tournament with what they're looking for.
Come back and get to have your home opener this week on the turf. Miles College, who you faced in the tournament, will come over for a doubleheader. Yeah,
we're excited Thursday to get on the new turf for the first time this season in competition, and then we've got a big tournament, the Lowell Blue Classic, coming up this Friday or the Saturday, Sunday. A couple out-of-state teams coming in, so we're expecting a good crowd. Hopefully, I think it's going to be dry. It'll be a little bit cool.
Can't wait to get out there and watch some softball at the Hill. Coach, thanks for coming by and joining us.
Okay, thank you.
We'll see Coach Davenport back in 2 weeks, and when we come back, Lee will be up here on the stage to start a number of interviews with head coach of the women's basketball team, Buffie Burson, right after this on Nighthawks at noon.
Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you for giving. Thank you.
Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for your support.
Thank you for helping me be a Nighthawk.
There are over 400,000 NCAA student athletes, and just about all of us will be going pro in something other than sports.
Welcome back to Nighthawks at Noon, presented by Dahlonega Roadhouse. It's brought to you as part of our Nighthawk Vision package at ungathletics.com. Graciously joined here on stage by University of North Georgia head women's basketball coach Buffie Burson. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Hey, it's great to be here.
Coach, tell us a little bit about a huge milestone that was passed just this past week. In a span of 2 games, your senior captain, Stephanie Huffman, surpassed 1,500 career points, 800 career rebounds, 350 career assists, and 100 steals. And we think she's become the first player ever in the history of the entire Peach Belt Conference to crest all 4 of those statistical milestones. Talk about what she means to your team.
Well, that's remarkable to hear, and it was great to be able to honor Stephanie at the game the other night. What an amazing person, too, and to be able to put up those type of numbers at 5'9" and playing in the Peach Belt is just, I can't even really describe it, but we use the word relentless with stuff. I think we've used that so many times, and to be the only senior on our team and have everybody behind her, and she does so many things for us, not just the points, and I'm glad that all those stats kind of show what she did for us.
Stephanie Huffman has a unique ability to be able to drive against players that are much taller than her, but I think what makes her unbelievably uncanny is how she can finish both left-handed, which she is, and right-handed. A lot of players can finish right-handed around the rim, but she can finish right-handed further away from the rim. Is there any sort of practice at that, or is that just how she does it?
She's practiced that for years, obviously, and she came to our camp when she was little, and she did that then, and she's doing it now, and it's hard to guard when she can go both ways like that. She can shoot the little floater right-handed around the free throw line. It throws a lot of the teams off. But yeah, she works extremely hard at that. So yeah.
Coach, your team is now winners of 7 straight, getting it going here at the tail end of the season, as most coaches want. What has been the formula for success over this stretch of 7 consecutive wins?
Just taking the one game at a time. We've been on the road and we've been back home, and we've been a little bit of all over the place with different kind of style teams that we've been playing. So just being consistent on the offensive end for us has been key. We've been working on our defense a lot, and I think it's shown probably the past 3 games. But just being able to stay together and get on the shoulders of Stephanie Huffman has been key.
And we talk about Stephanie Huffman a lot, but there's been a lot of players on your team over this winning streak that have morphed into good roles that have really made an impact for your team. Talk about some of those players.
Yeah, well, one, I guess, would be Sierra Jackson. We call her Sticks. She's done so much for us. She plays a point guard all the way to the post for us and comes in at different times and sparks us. So I asked her probably right, I think it was before the Clayton State game where her three had been because she shoots it so well, and I don't think she'd hit one in probably 5 or 6 games. And since that game, I think she's hit about 15. So that's all you got to do with Sticks is just say, hey, where's this been? And she brings that, and she brings so much intensity to the floor. And also, you got the Jordan Livesay's and Lauren Pounds, Rebecca Webster's, Kelsey Hutchins, and players like that just keep coming in game after game and being consistent. And, a lot of the stuff doesn't show up on the stats with those players, but they've been doing a great job for us.
I think the score at the first media timeout Saturday afternoon was Sierra Jackson 9 with 3 threes and Montevallo 2. So she has definitely found her stroke there. Coach, your team jumps back onto the road, and the next 3 are away from Memorial Hall. Talk about what kind of preparations go into playing so many games at home and then in turn jumping back and going on the road.
I guess the good thing is that's kind of the way our schedule's been all year. We hit 4 or 5 on the road and then came home for the same amount of games. So we're used to that. So the preparation it's not going to change much. We're going to take, like we just mentioned a second ago, 1 game at a time with Georgia Southwestern on Wednesday and keep the same routine going. Hard practice today, a little bit lighter tomorrow, and prep for them tomorrow and get ready to take these next 3 games very seriously and try to get the job done.
Coach, thanks for joining us. You referenced the Georgia Southwestern game Wednesday. That'll be brought to you by the UNG Nighthawk Radio Network. We'll go live from Americus, Georgia, beginning at about 5:10 p.m. Will you join us for a pregame interview?
Absolutely.
Coach, thanks for joining us. You're watching Nighthawks at Noon, presented by Dahlonega Roadhouse.
The PBC is commitment.
The PBC is community.
The PBC is competition.
The PBC is character. We are the PBC.
What you've gained as a student will be just as important to you as what you did as a player. As long as you know that you made the effort to do the best of which you're capable, there's no failure. Success on 3.
There are over 400,000 NCAA student athletes. And just about all of us will be going pro in something other than sports.
Welcome back to Dahlonega Roadhouse. Nighthawks at Noon. We're located right here behind Chick-fil-A. All patrons here in the crowd today get 10% off of their lunch bill. We appreciate everyone joining us today. Speaking of joining us, we're now joined by head men's and women's tennis coach Kent Norsworthy. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Coach, it's been a great start to the first part of your year. 2 away matches over the last week. You took your teams to Erskine in Due West, South Carolina on Wednesday evening. Women came away with a very hard-fought 5-4 victory over the nationally ranked Flying Fleet. Your men's team won 9-0, an easy match. Talk about that match and getting your season started.
The women actually had a very, very tough match. We ended up taking 2 of the doubles, which is always a good start. But there was an hour time span there where it could have gone either way. We had 2 matches on. We needed to win them both. Won both of them in 3rd sets, one of them in a 3rd set tiebreaker. So it was very emotional for the girls, a very long match, but it was a great win, and it was a good way to start off the season.
You've been in college tennis a very long time. Have you ever seen a match that back and forth, that ebb and flow?
That was I told somebody after the match, that was probably the most intense match back and forth that I've been a part of, so it was great that we came away with that.
And first time ever in school history that your team has beaten a very good program in Erskine. Talk about the men's match there on on Wednesday, breezing 9-0.
Yeah, the guys, and we sort of knew that coming in, that we were probably the better team, but you always have to do the work. So they took all 3 of the doubles, all the singles pretty easily, but you never want to take anybody for granted.
Then we, in turn, just this past weekend, traveled over to Aiken to open up your Peach Belt Conference slate. The women took one on the chin, lost 6-3 against nationally ranked Pacers. But your men's team picked up a victory over nationally ranked Aiken. Talk about that match.
Right, that was a good way to start our conference schedule off for the men. Aiken and us have always gone back and forth the last 5 years or so. So that puts us in really good position for going into the conference tournament at the end of the season.
When you talk about your two teams and what was different from this year versus last year, talk about some of the players that have. I know we've only played 2 matches that have got off to a good start.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of new players on both sides. So a couple of freshmen, a couple of transfers. Our men's team is probably about 2 players better than we were last year. Our women's team the same. So we're definitely stronger on both sides. Transfer on the male side, Philip Mueller has come on really strong. He played a really great fall. He'll be in the top of the lineup. And we've got a couple of new players on the women's side that came in January, Felicia Barata and Simone Krogh. They're going to fit into the top to the middle of the lineup, and they're doing very well so far.
And these new players that you reference are getting their fair share of life on the road. Right. First few matches are all away from home. You will travel on Wednesday to Shorter, who has a nationally ranked women's program, before a weekend swing down through Savannah at Armstrong, where both teams are ranked in the top 5, all the way down to St. Augustine, where you'll face Flagler. Any sort of preparation different when you have to play on the road so much?
No, it's sort of by design. We try and go where the weather is early in the season, so it is by design, but it is tough to start. But we have a good stretch of home matches towards the middle of the season, so that'll kind of balance us out.
Speaking of home matches, your first one is going to be not until February 21st when Young Harris comes to town as part of the Battle of Blood Mountain. Coach, we wish you the best of luck moving forward, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
You're watching Nighthawks at Noon, presented by Dahlonega Roadhouse.
Follow your dreams. Gain an advantage. Choose the University of North Georgia. UNG offers a unique range of educational programs and services that cannot be matched. Academic prestige, dynamic friendships, and leadership development are all within your reach. Begin your journey today with UNG. At the University of North Georgia, you are the priority. Supported by a student-focused learning environment, UNG is an extraordinary combination of programs, people, and places spanning 4 campuses. Choose your pathway today and thrive.
Welcome back to Nighthawks at Noon, presented by Dahlonega Roadhouse, here behind Chick-fil-A in Dahlonega. All patrons, again, 10% off their lunch bill. Good crowd on hand tonight. We're also joined now by head men's basketball coach Chris Faulkner. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Lee. Glad to be here.
Coach, your team has won 2 of 3 here. Not just 2 of 3, but 2 really big ones. The first one being a home win over Lander at homecoming, and then a big win on Hall of Fame Day over West leading Montevallo. Let's talk about the Lander game first. Feedback on that.
Well, obviously, Lander is a very good team, and you see they're ranked highly in the eastern side of the conference. So we knew coming in we had 3 straight home games, and we knew we had to go on a little run there. And like you said, winning 2 out of 3, and the start off with the Lander win was big for us. It was a week ago, and gosh, it seems like it was a month ago almost, but I thought they were very good, and I thought that was a game where we played really well, and particularly had some stops when we needed to defensively, and that's been the case with our team all year. When we were able to get those stops that we need defensively, we're able to go on and play very well. So, and that was one of those games that we did. Down the stretch, it got a little bit closer than we would have liked. We turned it over a couple times down the stretch for them trying to press us, and it made the game a little bit closer than we would like to. But overall, I felt like we played really well that day.
We went through a little bit of a rough patch there after a school record 11-1 start. Win one, lose one kind of thing, but we seem to have got back on track here as of lately. What's been the formula for success for that? A little bit of balance offensively, better defensively. From a coaching standpoint, talk about your feel over the last 3 games.
I think you hit right on it. Number one, the balance offensively. We hit a spell there, and when we lost a player, one of our perimeter guys in Tanner, we weren't playing as well. And I felt like we struggled kind of finding our rhythm, particularly offensively. So what has happened in the past few games is we're getting a little bit more balanced. We're finding ways, other guys are finding ways to score. Corey Green, who's been one of our better players all year, but he's mainly been attacking the basket. And then all of a sudden, Corey makes 3 threes Saturday, and it stretches the floor a little bit more for us. And then you free Ebo up, you free Shaquan up. Those guys started getting freed up. And then I think we're getting good contribution from our post guys and getting some contributions with TJ. And then Mike Verchione had a great game Saturday. So we're able to throw a lot of different guys. Our point guard play has been very good as well with Sean and Travis. But we're able to throw a lot of different guys at it, so nobody can say, okay, well, this guy averages 22 a game, stop him, and you can beat North Georgia. So I think that's been big for us. And then what you said defensively, being able to get stops, and I think team defense is how we have to do that. The Young Harris game, the one that we lost in this 3-game span, I felt like they were able to attack us off the dribble. And we couldn't rotate as well behind that and stop those guys. But in the 2 games that we've won, I felt like we've done a better job of that. And Saturday, I thought we did a great job with Montevello's guys, with Brown, the point guard who's so good. He really hurt us at their place. But we were able to mix up matchups on him. We guarded him basically with 3 different guys with Travis Core, Sean Brennan, and then Shaquan Cantrell. And then we tried to trap him a lot with a ball screen. And then when you do that, you saw the game. When you trap the ball screen, you free up guys going to the basket. But our post players rotated pretty good and did a good job of that as well.
And you're referencing Torrin Brown, one of the defending league player of the year, led Montevallo to 7 straight wins prior to coming into Memorial Hall. Aside from mixing up defenses, was Saturday afternoon against Montevallo, who was really playing downhill, one of our best defensive efforts?
I think it was, and it's funny to say that when you say they scored 86 points on us, but because of the style we play, we look at more at field goal percentages of opponents than we do points allowed, because we're going to play very, very fast, which creates more possessions, which will create more points. But I think we held those guys at 40% on Saturday, and that obviously was a huge factor on us being able to beat them.
As we get here to the end of Peach Bell Conference play, you and your Nighthawks are returning back to the road. Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday evening at Georgia Southwestern and Americus. We'll bring it live on UNG Nighthawk Radio Network. And then Saturday afternoon at Georgia College. We've positioned ourselves right there in the West Division to kind of anchoring into that 2, 3, 4 spot. Talk about the importance of these road games.
We've got 3 road games coming up, and then we finish with the final 2 at home. So obviously, they're all very important. Where we're standing right now at 3rd, and we've got a 1-game lead on the 4th place team. It's very pivotal right now. And Georgia Southwestern, who's actually 5th, and they're playing very, very well. They knocked off Columbus State the other day. They knocked off Clayton State on Saturday. So they're starting to put it together and play well. And we've got them twice. Yeah. And those games are huge, obviously, because those are guys that you're kind of jockeying with in the standings there. So, if we can go down and steal one in Americas, then that just puts us that much more up in the standings there.
Final question here. As you return back to the road, these Wednesday long games are long road trips where you finish at going on 10 at night and then have 4 hours back to campus. Does that kind of throw you off balance moving forward for the rest of the week?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt it does, because you get home, you get off the bus, it's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then the way our practice schedule is set, we practice early on Thursdays because of our guys' classes. So it's really hard to get off a bus at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and then turn around and practice, 8, hours later for these guys. So, and to be honest with you, our guys don't know this yet, but what our plan is, we generally take Sundays off. We're going to now start taking Sundays and Thursdays off down the stretch here. Their legs are a little bit weary, and we feel like that'll be better for them to take those days off.
Coach, can you carve out a little bit of time of your schedule Wednesday evening to join us at halftime of the women's game on the radio network?
Sure, be glad to.
As always, we appreciate it. Coach Faulkner, you are watching Nighthawks at Noon, presented here by Dahlonega Roadhouse.
Think of the NCAA as a spirit squad, cheering for student athletes at every big event and every small one. We'd be there in the classroom, at graduation, at their first job interview. Okay, so don't think of us as a spirit squad. Think of us as a mascot. Well, just know we're always there for student athletes.
Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you for giving.
Thank you. Thank you for believing in me.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you for helping me be a Nighthawk.
Welcome back to Nighthawks at Noon here at Dahlonega Roadhouse, right behind Chick-fil-A on Morrison Moore Parkway in Dahlonega. A great place to come have lunch here in the City of Gold. Joined now by the assistant baseball coach, Nick Palmer. And Nick, quite a fun weekend out there at Baumstein. 2 big wins for the team in the home opener.
2 big wins. It was great to be out on the field turf. We've got to practice on it, and we've inter-squatted on it, but finally getting to be out there and play as a team, play against another team on the turf, and have the home crowd there. It was a capacity weekend, and we couldn't have been more excited for the way our fans showed up Friday night, especially for the home opener.
Friday night ended up coming back against Pfeiffer, a 4-2 win there.
We did. Got out, got on them early. They came back. Got to show a little excitement. We played. We had the lead at Valdosta and then lost it. Had to come back from behind. But anytime you can come from behind and get a win, or come from a tie and get a win, it's always a big step in the right direction for your program.
Saturday, really a heartbreaker in that one. 5-4 loss to Pfeiffer, but had the bases loaded and maybe a foot and a half away from a walk-off grand slam there at the end.
We were, twice in consecutive batters, but the real story about that was that we left 11 guys on base the whole night. So it really didn't come down to the last inning and having those guys on base and not scoring them. We really shouldn't have been in a situation to begin with. Had the lead early, have one bad inning, and in college baseball, one bad inning will do you in, especially some of the guys that are younger that haven't experienced college baseball yet. As we get into Peach Belt, those one-run games are going to be crucial in winning 2 out of 3 every weekend and sweeping some weekends. And we hadn't left 11 on base, we wouldn't have been in a situation to begin with.
Sunday didn't leave 11 on base, didn't leave many at base at all. Bats really came alive, a 12-2 win. Really a fun day out there at Baumstein.
It was a lot of fun. The weather was great. We can't ask for better weather for February or for February baseball, especially here in Dahlonega. But the big change from what we've done early in the year to what we did on Sunday to really help us. We talked with our guys Sunday and explained our process and what we work on and why we do the things we do at practice. And if you go back and look at the box score, you see a lot of hits. But what was really encouraging for us, we had a lot of hits the other way. Now, in some of our early games, we've had hits the other way, scattered, through a couple of guys. But I think as a whole, our entire offense used the entire field line to line yesterday and really exposed a lot of holes. You use one side of the field to get one-dimensional, it's easy to pitch to you. Credit to Pfeiffer. They did a good job, in Game 2, staying away from us. We didn't make the adjustment. But I think Sunday, our guys definitely came out with a chip on their shoulder, and they were ready to come out and get the win a series, and enjoy the feeling of winning at home.
Really cool moment there in the bottom of the 8th inning. Had Taylor Jones, a senior transfer, who was looking for his first collegiate hit, and got only not his first collegiate hit, but also his first collegiate home run and a big shot to center.
It was. You know, our team's not really geared around one guy in particular, and we don't like to single out guys, but for Taylor and what he's been through for his college career and, you know, getting to come up in a situation and having it bat, and, you know, I think everybody in the dugout was ready for him to get a hit, but, you know, that was kind of icing on the cake, into the wind, out to the deep part of the park, and, you know, it shows the power that we have in our lineup, top to bottom, even with our guys coming off the bench. We can't live and die by the long ball, but, you know, it was definitely encouraging to get to see that, and brought a lot of excitement there late in the game for us.
Beautiful weather out there this weekend. Will be, I think, a little cooler this week when you host Indianapolis.
It's going to be a little cooler this weekend at home. We're going to kind of get to experience what we've been practicing in. We were kind of all in culture shock. You know, we went to Valdosta, played some warm weather, came back. Wasn't quite as warm as it was in Valdosta, but, you know, having 60 degrees, 50-degree weather in February in Dahlonega, you can't ask for anything better. No rain, so it's always a good thing.
Nick, thanks for coming by and joining us and talking about baseball. Big few weeks coming up. Baseball, a lot of series at home this year. You can check out the full schedule at ungathletics.com, or you can come back here and watch us at Nighthawks at noon as we'll recap the last 2 weeks of baseball on February 23rd, our next show here at Dahlonega Roadhouse. Until then, Chad Haynie for Nighthawk Vision. So long, everybody.